Okay, so I heard some of y'all don't know what a corn picker is and how it works. So a corn picker looks like a contraption. They don't make them anymore because OSHA did not like them. And if you're wondering why, it's pretty self-explanatory. You've got chains everywhere. Chains that run through here. And if you stuck your hand in there, it would grab your hand. And a lot of people had their hands tore off with a corn picker, but they're not really that dangerous if you know what you're doing and are cautious. They are a large-looking contraption. A Super H like this one would pull it. That 400 up there would pull it really well. But we use like this 80 or the 100 over there. They both work pretty good. So I'll start on the hitch, and explain what this stuff does. Okay, so starting back here, you've got your basic stuff. You've got your PTO, your hydraulics here, and then your hydraulic cylinder. So pretty much what this does, this one, there's another hydraulic cylinder here, and the PTO runs up there, and we'll get to there in a minute. So the string right here, if I'm not mistaken, turns on the picker itself. The PTO can spin, but once you engage that, it will turn on the picker. And then this right here, which this one's a little messed up, but I can get the corn stalks off of it. So it will swivel. This is hydraulic. You can move this. That's why there's a hydraulics under there. This has been welded on. But it will move over. So like if you're getting too close to your row or a fence or something, you can scoot it over. And farmer fixes like we have on the H, they got insulators. This rope here, right there, runs up there. Sorry, my camera overheated. So this rope right here runs up to the top right there and will turn on and off the elevator from the cab of your tractor. Like if you were attached, you could open your back glass and you could pull the rope and it would start the elevator if the picker was already moving. So that's that. Now we'll go back to the husking bed. Okay, this is where your hitch, it connects to your frame. So when they haul these things, they typically take this off and then take this wheel off and take the elevator off to have to haul them because they're very hard to haul. So you've got your tire, and then you've got your shield, which this protects a few things, but again, you can see another prime example of why OSHA doesn't like this. All this stuff was open. We got to replace this belt here because it broke last year. But this runs to that, and then there's a belt that drives a mechanism down here. I believe this runs to the PTO, and then this runs to this, which the belt, which would run the fan. But it also branches off and goes. Somehow it connects to this, and then when this is turning off of this, it runs up to the husking bed and runs all that husking stuff. But that sprocket right there also runs over to that side. It's a lot. This fan right here, it runs to blow off the husk, and you'll know. I'll come back to it in a minute, but you'll understand what I'm talking about. So once your corn is husked, it comes here, which gets pushed up into the elevator. The rollers right there push the corn and goes up to the elevator, into your gravity box or gravity wagon or whatever you call it. This is how it moves right here. This one's had a little welding because his tongue hit it. This is where your tongue to your wagon goes. So we'll head to that. This is what I was talking about when I said it branches off of that, see this PTO runs into that gearbox and powers that. Yeah, so that runs off the gearbox, this does, and runs over here into this gearbox, which runs down and then over and then down. So we'll start right here. This is the picker head. This PTO goes from there and runs this chain, which runs the rollers and the chains on the PTO, or the head. So this chain, there's your idler right there, right here. And then your chain runs to this, and then we'll run your rollers, which you'll see right there. You can see them. That's your rollers. So you've got that, and then this chain runs off of the other chain with the idler here, and then your bearing and all the spring. And then you've got another little gearbox. This runs down, and this will run the chains that pulls in the corn, and this gets all that wrapped around it. But you've got that, and then this chain right here runs up here, which is what's drawing the corn into the husking bed right here. The husking bed okay, so you look in here. So the auger brings in the corn from in there. I don't know how well you can see it, but it brings it in there and brings it right there. And these fingers on these get all the shuck off of your corn and go down there, and the fan blows all the husks off of your corn that you've picked. Your ears of corn come through here. These fingers pull all of it off. These fingers have to be replaced because they get brittle over time, but they run through, and that fan blows all that trash off. So you'll see. Now we're gonna go to the head. So this is your head. Looks kind of like a John Deere combine head, a small one, or an 815 International, yeah. So you got your snouts, and then your just overall head. I believe you can take these off if you wanted. You've got, well, I missed that. Your serial tag's right there. But these two chains draw in your corn, and then your roller gets rid of the stalk, but your corn is still in the shuck. So that right there pulls the shuck in, and in the stalk, that just breaks it off. That does. Chain just pulls it in, that just breaks it off. This pulls in the stalk in the ear with this pushes it, and you make a little turn up there and go up into there. And then you've got your other side, same thing. Just a 2-row head. They made a 3-row, I think, maybe a 4-row. And then they made your unis. Okay, there's the gearbox on the other side we talked about. So this gearbox runs here, runs all that side, it's the same thing. But up here at this gearbox, you branch off and gets to another chain, which runs that sprocket and that idler and all that with that chain that runs up there, then runs back down, and it goes across. And this, if I can get under here to show y'all, that's where it blows off the stalk. What the husking bed does is all it does is gets rid of the ear. But the husking bed is getting rid of the ear's trash. This gets rid of the stalk that comes out. So it's pretty self-explanatory. That's where that came from. Wisconsin, I guess. I don't know. Does that open? No. This, you can kind of adjust your head with it, but you typically just use your hydraulics. Unless you're just trying to make it harder on yourself, that can do that. So that's how a corn picker works. You'll be seeing it in action. There's also a YouTube short, one of my first YouTube shorts with it I did last year with a picker, or this picker and that 80. So you may be seeing that combo again this year. Not sure what we're going to hook it to pick. Maybe the 100. We'll see. There's liable to be a time lapse, but there'll definitely be a video over getting it in the crib and all that. So, thank y'all. This will go on the vlog.